Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to talk about Survivor South Africa, episode 8, The Merge!
Ooh, merge! But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, please. So very much helps the channel. Chantele, we made it. We're here.
We made it. It was worth the wait. This is we're on the top of the roller. We're going up the roller coaster. We're at the top right now. We're about to go right all the way down. And I love roller coasters, so I'm on the ride.
I do not, but I love a good Survivor episode, and that is what we have. They gave me everything I want in a merge episode, including this cute little moment here at the top where Marisha finds an idol was way up in a tree. So she has to go get help from Rainier.
Okay, so it seems like she didn't actually even need Rainier's help. It seemed like she found some sort of big piece of bamboo or a stick of some sort, and she knocked it down, it seemed, while he was trying to climb up the tree. And so she didn't really need to even tell him about it. And then he runs over, he sees it on the ground, picks it up and shoves it down his pants. And it's like, okay, all of a sudden it's his idol now too.
Well, when we're just watching at the top of the episode, it's an interesting moment. You're like, oh, okay. Dang, she found an idol. Wow, it's being shared. Rainier's a gamer, so he's going to kind of own it. But, they're saying it'll be within their alliance. Fast forward to the end of this episode, you're like, that was Marisha that found that idol in that tree. Oh, boy.
I have a thought.
Yes.
I'm thinking, so she had the intuition, right? She's to look up and to find this idol. I wonder if she followed through with that intuition, she would have realized that they were giving her that idol because she was in danger, which would be very interesting if she had allowed herself to be maybe influenced that way a little bit. Because if I found an idol just by randomly looking up, I don't know, my spidey senses would be up and I'd be like, maybe I need to reconfigure my position in the tribe. So...
yeah, because I was debating, even if she just got it herself, didn't ask Rainier for help, and just got it herself, and no one else knew about it, I still don't think she would have played it, right? She felt comfortable, didn't hear her name. So anyway, wonderfully interesting way to start the episode there. And
foreshadowing, we didn't know it was. We had no idea it was complete foreshadowing.
That was some subtle foreshadowing. Yeah. I did not pick up on that, and I love it when I don't pick up on something. Now we are going to go merge. Drop your buffs, you guys.
I'm so happy to hear we knew that it was coming. We saw was that the merge dance? All right.
Yeah.
Do it. We're going to merge. Okay. I love when it gets to this point in the game because I know that everybody that's playing, this season anyways, they are lovers of the game. And so this is a big accomplishment. And I know you might make fun of me.
Uh-oh.
But I did get a little teary-eyed. Because if it was me, and this is one of my dreams is to be on Survivor or be on Big Brother, one of those two shows. I've grown up with them, and so to see your dream actualized and then make it to one of the major landmarks of the game, I just was feeling emotional for them because I know that it probably means as much as it would have meant to me to be up there. So I would have been bawling if I went to merge. I'd be like, wow. Oh my God, I got here. So
you gotta play it off in the game, okay? If you make it on the show, please promise me. Cry privately so they don't see you at the merge.
What if I'm being vulnerable? Sharing my vulnerability.
Maybe that will help. I don't know. Maybe you could play that in your favor. Maybe.
We'll see.
Right.
You'll see me in my confessionals being like, Sarah told me not to cry in front of people, so I'm crying here right now, crying everything out.
I'll be like, yes, that's it. Get in the game. You got it. Game face. Yes. Oh, well, they're all very excited. I mean, I agree in that, oh my God, they did it. They did it. I understand the feelings and the adrenaline that they have, that they've met this goal. And we get a lot of shots of how people are feeling. We come together, Nico sort of tells them about the new tribe, Osindile, I think so.
Osindile. Sounds good to me. Are you from South Africa?
Yeah. Yep. That's right. And, he basically sets them up with their feast. And because we have some Survivor fans playing this season, we definitely have some people considering where this advantage or idol might be. We get to see it. We know exactly where it is.
Mm-hmm. I don't. This is where my stress level started to rise for the episode because, like, Chappie's was not calm or subtle about his intentions that entire merge feast.
At all. Wow. Okay, not subtle.
No.
But also then got a bit drunk.
Chappies.
Dear Chappies. Okay, first off, I have a rule that you just don't drink when you go on these games because you got to be focused on the game. Mm-hmm. But a sip or so of wine is different than like 3 glasses of wine. What?
I mean, I did think because they were mentioning that he was like, oh, I haven't had wine in 3 weeks or whatever. Like, I thought I was like, oh my God, is it going to be worse than is it going to be really bad? Is he going to spill some really big tea? Like, I was worried for him because he was already acting quite wild and quite, with abandon. And I was like, wait, with abandon and wasted? Oh my goodness. That's like a recipe for killing your game potentially.
Yes. Yeah. And some people are picking up on it here. They're noticing the not subtle search. They're noticing he's tipsy and now he's spilling the beans on the family videos to Warda. And this kind of just sent Sean over the edge.
Well, I just didn't understand though. I mean, he's probably drunk and he probably was just being emotional and wanting to share. I don't really think that he was coming at it from a malicious standpoint. Yeah. But in the compassion standpoint, I would think that, maybe I shouldn't share this with her because she's probably really missing her family, and to bring it up, especially, that we got to have this and she didn't because they lost something. I just think that maybe it was just bad timing and they weren't good enough friends for it to be sharing, she's going to be happy for him and, vice versa, just sharing their rewards. So I thought it was maybe a miscalculation on the who to tell this to.
Yeah, and because it was such an odd miscalculation, I did question what the manipulation might be there. Is this some sort of emotional manipulation that Chappies was trying? Because you're like, wait, were he and Warda best friends at some point? And this was something so personal that needed to be shared. Also, you're at a public setting. It's not like he waited to go off into the jungle to be like, I just needed to share with you that I saw my family. I don't know. I felt like there might have been some manipulation
or
there.
Maybe it was the red wine truth serum and he just wanted to blah, blah, blah.
Just drunk.
He's a chatty drunk. We'll know that.
It was not great of a move to make public. Publicly he made that move and it kind of sets us on a path here of how people are going to feel about it. Also, there's a little moment here where Marisha tells Santini that she has 4 more votes before she'll go.
It was really because we've been super favorable to Marisha's game. We thought that she's probably the strongest woman in the maybe even woman person on either tribe. And so we were just we thought that she was in pretty good with her alliance with Amy and Nicole. And she was just, and we loved her winning that reward. And so when she came with this kind of, I don't know, attitude, I don't know what word I want to use. She was being kind of snobby or being elitist or really looking down on her. Santini said the word that I'm thinking of when she said it in her own language, but yeah, she said the word. But anyways, the point was, I just thought it was terrible gameplay. It's thank you for allowing me three more days in this tribe until you guys decide to vote me off. Thank you so much. Who kissed your ring? Who made her queen to be able to speak to anybody that way? Especially at the merge feast. That would be the time to be gaining allies and learning about people and seeing if there's any dissension in the other tribe and really try to figure out how you could steer the way. And so it's showing me that Marisha's not a game player. She's just a brawn player. And she goes with the numbers and power from winning competitions.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows us that her social game is not on point. Yes, your physical game, great. But if you're telling someone, and maybe she's got a little sag in her, and just the truth, your truth just kind of falls out of your mouth sometimes. And you're like, yeah, you probably have like 4 votes left. Yeah, sure. And people are like, what? You know, sometimes you just gotta like have that filter and not say everything that comes into mind. You know,
I'm more Virgo, to be fair, because sometimes Virgos really like outdoors and like the physical body and stuff, and they can be hypercritical. So maybe I can see. Maybe it's a combo.
Yes,
let's get her chart.
That's a dangerous combo. Okay, so that's basically our little merge feast here. And then we move into this new luxurious camp, basically. I was like, dang,
they don't suffer on this season. They just
don't. They don't. They are not surviving on these beaches. They have been given food. They've got comfort now. What? What is this?
So like, I get over emotional for these, loved one visits and stuff like that. But like, I actually though wouldn't need to see my loved ones. Like, I wouldn't be the person that like, I'll give anything to see a picture of my family and friends. Like, no. So I wouldn't be really tempted by the things that like Warda, like that whole scenario wouldn't really faze me that much. But like these creature comforts though, like they really are allowing them to live in luxury. And that's probably what I'd miss the most would be the comforts of stuff. So I think that I would like this a lot better than I wouldn't care about any letters from family or videos. I wouldn't care about that.
So basically we need to move to South Africa so that we can get on this Survivor, because this one's the only one that's doable.
Well, the competitions though seem kind of terrifying. We have Santini almost dying. Like maybe challenging.
I can swim. Can you swim?
I can swim. Okay. I can swim, but I don't know if I'd want to be swimming with like an undertow. I have been taken out once when I was really young, and so I do have a slight fear of like deep water, but I've taken swimming lessons.
I have a fear of the ocean because they're sharks, and I don't know if they're sharks or snakes or what's in the waters over there, but that's what I would be asking. I'd be like, what's in these waters?
Exactly. There's like crocodile or something. Like, ooh.
Yeah. I grew up in Florida. I swam with that alligators. It's not fun, guys. It's not fun. Okay, so at this camp is when the chaos here now can begin. We're basically going to start talking about who's got what advantage, who's got idols. We're going to start sharing a lot of information, and we're going to start forming our little groups here. But first, Anella's going to play a little game. He's collected all of his little clues from Immunity Island, and he wants to plant them around. While he's telling Sean about this and explaining his like steal a vote type thing, his, what do they call it, insurance, Chappie's walks up. So they just take this moment to give Chappie's the first clue. And Chappie's just goes on a whole treasure hunt.
Now, I appreciate anybody that's like, ooh, clue, something, let's go look for it. But
yeah,
why would they just give you a clue and not want to be on that, treasure hunt with you? I would be like, there's something off with the ease it was to be sharing this information. So whether it be like, oh, it's already been found, would be something that would have crossed my mind. But definitely if the fact that they weren't following me along and being like, let's see if he finds it, that would be a big red flag as to the value of this little piece of paper.
I just feel like it was hilarious because Chappie's does not do anything subtle. So, I agree with you. Like, sure, have some fun, plant some clues. I don't know how easily you fall for it or not, but Chaps is on the go, and he's crawling under the shelter. He's just being so blatant about moving around and finding these clues, and he spends a lot of time at that sign digging so much that I was like, is he gonna actually find an idol this backfire on Anella and them?
That's what I thought was going to happen, because it would have been great, just because, you know, obviously they wanted to trick him, but they had the wherewithal to be like, though it could be a place where an idol might be found, so hopefully there's not one there. I thought that was kind of a funny little like, if he got it, but he didn't
Right.
find one.
I was like, it's real risky to like send them to the sign. There could be one
Always
there.
at the sign.
Yes. And I was like, I'll look around, and we just see him like this. But I was like, he didn't dig. So anyway, I don't think we get an idol here at the sign, at least in this episode at this point. Rainier, Sean, and Anella are going to talk. They're talking about Anella's vote dealio. He doesn't have a vote, but he can steal a vote. They, at this point, are talking about how they want Warda out. Warda is dangerous. Got to get her out. There's a lot of talk of breaking up the women, which actually does make sense. It's a smart group of ladies here. But they're also worried about chappies. So we're going to get more talk about chappies here. And Rainier, I was kind of surprised because we recently saw him make this like duo with chappies. But Rainier is like spearheading, let's get chappies out.
Well, it's because they want that numbers advantage, especially now that they know that Anella doesn't have one of his votes. So it's just going to be, what I don't know the numbers right now, but like they don't have 2 votes. They only have like the numbers that they would imagine that they would have. And so I guess they just really want to make sure that they get the numbers advantage for the original Zamba, so that they can just plow through the rest of original Vuna and get to their final 6 or whatever, how many people are left. So that's what I think was there, just like tunnel vision is getting the numbers advantage. And Rainier just stopped playing the fact that like, oh, he wants to get chappies to be, you know, in on him and so he can slit his throat. He now has all these numbers. He has these people. He's working with Amy. He's working with, he has all these other alliances that he can maybe expend that one.
Yeah, so this is what I find interesting here, is because we had talked about this last probably a couple episodes where we were like, are they going to be OG, right? Are they going to go back to that? Because they swapped tribes on like what, day 3? It was so early. How do these relationships work? And I actually found it interesting because for the most part, we're talking OG tribes, but because of those mid swaps, we have some overlap, right? So Sean is going to talk to Anesu. We've got Santony and Anesu basically being double agents. And that I love because we got those swaps, it allows a little bit of blending.
For the people that are game players.
Yes.
See, what I'm realizing is the people that just want the numbers, except for Rainier for pretty much, but like it seems that they were set on just getting the numbers. And so Amy was coming in being like, well, maybe we should consider, you know, and people were coming in that are a little bit more strategic, like maybe we should, and they're like, no, it's this is the vote, this is the numbers, we got this, like no brainer, easy vote. And they forgot about the fact that there was the intermixing and that there's going to be strategic people that's not going to be okay with allowing you to get a numbers advantage. So I agree with you. It was great that the people that are strategic had an opportunity to see some holes that the people that are just about the numbers couldn't see at all.
Yes, and that's we're here for. So Sean and Anesu are going to talk here about he's kind of revealing the advantage with the vote and explaining to her, you know, who's a core group that will always vote together, and they are going to be able to take a vote from your original tribe group. And so she doesn't
stay together, because that I couldn't remember, because I was like, why is Sean telling Anesu that they were Sean is original Zamba, and then was he Vuna after with Anesu? I thought you got your list.
Well, I have my OG list.
Okay, I know the OG list. I don't remember the second swap list or the third.
But that would take way more research for me to go back through my notes.
Let me think.
And see. Yeah, you're right. I don't feel like off the top of my head I've ever seen Sean at a tribal with Anesu.
Right. So wait, Anesu, they weren't the second time. Was it the last time maybe that they were on the same one?
Maybe this recent one.
Yeah, the
That
most
was like,
recent Vuna. He would have been on Vuna this last time, I guess.
I don't know, but here we are with Sean being friends with it. I mean, Anasu just has that social game on rep. Like she's just like, hi, should we talk? And people are like, yes, we should. Let's be friends. You know, she's good like that.
She's so good, but I'm like, somebody's gonna see that you're such. It's like I felt like whenever people talk to Anesu, it's like, prime minister or president meeting, and they're talking about like what they're gonna do with the game. Like I just feel like she's in such a powerful position, and kind of the leader. Without saying like, hey, I'm the leader. And I'm just worried that people will be like, hey, she has too much power. People come to her with all the information and she makes the plans usually and executes them and does well. So I love her. It's like her and Santini are like my top right now. So I'm worried, definitely worried.
Well, they're playing pretty well. So yes, chat is confirming that the second swap got Sean and Anasu together.
Thank you.
But never went to tribal. See, there you go. Me relying on my visual. I'm such a visual person, so I have to see them sitting together. That doesn't help if they didn't actually go to tribal. Okay. So, yes. So it seems like at this point we do have even numbers, right? 6-6. OG Zamba, OG Vuna, with Anella and Santini, even though they're both OG Vuna, some of these.
Oh, wait, you said Anesu or Nella? Sorry.
Yeah, Anesu and Santini.
Okay, sorry. Never mind.
Okay.
You're right.
So Anesu and Santini are both OG Vuna, but some of the Zambas think that they have come over. They think that they have them for numbers, right? So this is how it is looking right now. Then we go to Anesu and the chickens. I'm a vegetarian.
I don't eat meat either.
Love when the chickens get involved. I love when people have sympathy and want to like do something, but they don't want to ruin their game. This whole thing just makes me laugh.
What would you do? Because like I was thinking about it. Like I haven't eaten meat. I call myself veganish because sometimes I'll eat fish, but I was like full vegan for a few years, and like I was raw vegan for even a year. So I have a long whatever story as of like why I prefer not to eat meat. Would you compromise if you have any moral stances behind not eating meat when you went on Survivor? Would you be a hardcore vegetarian, or would you succumb, especially in reward challenges or killing a chicken?
Right. I am a pescatarian that's dairy free. So sometimes you'll just yeah. So sometimes it's easy to say vegan because you're alluding to the dairy free part, but I will eat seafood. And so I would stick to that out on Survivor and eat as much seafood as I possibly can. I have not had meat in my body in more decades than I'd like to count because I did this as a child. Like I became a vegetarian as a child. So I wouldn't risk eating meat because I think it would tear up my system.
Yes.
And cause me more issues. But I am of the belief of like, if I need to eat something, I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to be like, no, I'm vegan out on Survivor if I'm like dying. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm curious.
Yeah, I would definitely, I don't think I'd eat chicken because I think I would be sick. I think it would make me sick, you know?
Like I really haven't eaten meat since like 2011, I think. So yeah, 10 years eating meat. And then only a couple years ago, I started eating fish again. But I was like, so that's why I say vegan-ish, because sometimes I'll eat fish, but I don't eat animal dairy or anything like that either.
Right. I would probably be open to eating the eggs out there. Like I would compromise. Not to get, yes, I loved Wendy, by the way. Thank you, Lauren. Not to get off on a huge tangent, but when we covered Amazing Race Australia, they did a ton of food challenges and they had a vegan team. Did you watch this last?
Yes, I did, with the balut. And
And even I was like, suck it up and eat the oysters. You're on the amazing.
Oh, the
race.
oysters. So the oysters I was pissed off about. Like the oysters, come on. And like them just being like nobody ate them. Like was it Jackson? And like they're just like trying to eat like, oh, I can't have that. I can't have that. So one guy ate like 60 of them and then they're like, oh, we have to stop. At the intersection, and I was like, it's an oyster. Like I would have eaten oysters for sure. Like you can down 25 oysters, not a big deal.
I mean, the egg challenge where they were like,
oh, the actual raw eggs?
Like, that's gross for everybody, whether you eat eggs or not. Like, that's just gross. And that's a hard challenge, but I would try to suck it up because I'm on the amazing race, you know? So same thing. Like, you got to do what you got to do. If they like put a calf's head in front of me on Survivor, like it would be awful, but I would do what I had to do, you guys. That's how important reality TV is to me.
Okay, I just needed to know where we stood here. I needed to know how much you would do for the name of the game. So we are in the same camp. I would do the same. I would eat anything.
And then I would be sick for a really, really long time.
I'd probably be very sick.
Yes. Well, what's important about this little moment here with the chickens is that Marisha throws Anesu under the bus. And that sets Anesu on a bit of a path of like, girl, why are you doing that?
Loved it. It kind of gave a reason for her to have her as an enemy. One thing that you need to do in these games is like if you're friends with everybody and you have really good, relationships with tons of people, sometimes you're like, I don't want to have any power because I don't want to take anybody out because like I feel bad or whatever reasons they are. And so as soon as Marisha did something to wrong her, that in her head, she's probably like, oh, I'm expendable to her. She doesn't care about where I sit in the game, in the tribe, about her friendship. That means that she needs to go because she's not under my spell. So I love that she clocked it so quickly and executed, I think.
Yeah, and I liked how she handled it in the moment where she was like, oh, what, me? Like could laugh it off and try to make it seem like, no, it wasn't just me, first off, you guys, but like, let's laugh it off like it's no big deal. And then I'm going to cut you later because how dare you? How dare you?
I hope that like it comes back to that moment, like Marisha's just like, what happened? How did my game go wrong? And then she'll be like, it's like the chicken. Like she'll be like, ah.
I think it's like it's still her social game though. Like that's still like, girl, that's not how you talk to people when you're playing a game.
A social game.
Yeah. Okay. So the next conversation we see here is Tyson and Santini. And woo, Tyson, the wheels are turning on this boy. He is, first off, he loves using Santini as, I don't know, is it a weapon? Like using her in the game, utilizing her, I should say. But he's all about like, how are we going to play this idol correctly? He's got an idol. And this other side has, a steal a vote type thing. So we got to like figure out how we're going to play this correctly. And he has the great idea of like, Marisha thinks she's so safe, not even concerned that it might be her. So if we tell the other side, you, the double agent, that the vote's going to Nicole, no one's even going to suspect that we could then vote Marisha out.
I did not think that this would have worked as well as it did because it just seems so obvious of a misdirect. Like, oh, Santini is going to talk to Tyson and walk over to the other people and tell them exactly who they're going to be voting for and it's going to be the truth. And they're going to believe it and buy it. Like, it was shocking to me that they took the bait. It was so, to me, I mean, obviously I'm not on the island. I don't know the relationships that they have. And, maybe my gut wouldn't have kicked in. But I thought it was a very obvious play from original Vuna. And I don't know, they walked into the trap.
They did. Oh, it was just well executed because you're right. You can screw this up. But I think that they played it just really well. I mean, Santini and Anesu have been playing double agent. The OG Zombas know that they're getting information. And if you come to me with information several times.
And it's correct. It's true.
And this is just one of those times, it's just sprinkled in the middle of all the stuff you've told me. And she's just like, I've heard that it's Nicole. Yeah, Nicole's the vote. You just roll with it. That's who the vote is. And so here we are. They now you know, they've been talking about Warda and Chappies, but now they think that the vote is going to be Nicole.
Perfect. I mean,
I love it.
I was like, I'm loving this plan. I'm like, it just seems like it's a complex plan that seems to be going so smoothly. Like, I'm like they must be misdirecting me as an audience member so that like at Tribal, like I didn't see it coming, that they figured it out and like, you know, they were able to protect themselves. And, you know, I really thought that was what was going to be happening. And like, I was just like, it just seems it's a hard plan to get to all these pieces, especially because we're going to get into it now with like the whole Immunity Island, all that part of it. I'm just like, and you think that it's just Nicole's the vote and Chappie's like it's easy?
That's how, well, this is exactly how I'm watching the episode. Like, what is it? What? Who's saying what to who? Who is working with who and who's pretending to work with who? And who are they? What idol? And then what advantage? And then you have to do it like that. Like, I'm having a hard time piecing the puzzle together. Yet Tyson and Kieran make it look like it was easy peasy, no big deal. We got this under control.
I mean, I'm impressed. I definitely am impressed because I love a good strategy. I love a good blindside. It has nothing to do with me, like getting it. Like I don't want to be blindsided, but I want to watch it or be, you know, facilitate it. But I was definitely very, very impressed by both of them being able to just execute this plan. It's like, because even like the riskiness of Santini, like you don't know if she's going to say too much information or if she's going to go with the plan. Like she's a little bit of someone that you kind of have to tiptoe around with and not push her in the wrong direction because she's going to do what is going to be best for her game no matter what. And so I was nervous about that. I was nervous about just telling too much information to people that they would figure out that this simple plan is not the plan.
Yeah, I think, though, to your point about Santini, because you're right, if this wasn't going to work in her favor, she wouldn't have gone with it. But she does value being looped into a plan. Sure. We've seen that work on her. And so how Tyson is like, here it is, and we'll lay it out like this, and then we'll get her out. She's like, yeah. I mean, she's literally cackling to the camera in her confessional. She's like, I love this game. And I think that's how you suck her in to your side, because she's like, this is diabolical.
It so happens that Marisha just rubbed her the wrong way. And she's like, well, let's get you back. Let's get you back.
Yeah. How many votes was that? So meanwhile, yes, Joseph, Chappies is looking for that idol still, but you know what? He's also in a spy shack.
Spy nest. I think it was a spy nest. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a spy nest. And this is the stress that I think I was messaging you when I was watching this part.
Yeah,
it was stressful because like I couldn't get behind Tony Vlachos's for original season because he stressed me out so much. Like I don't know, like am I rooting for you or am I rooting for you to get caught? Like it's just like too much stress. And so this is what Chappies was doing to me. I'm like, is he gonna get caught? Like I want Chappies to do well, and he's already the target. Like, is he trying to make himself the target so that they know where the boat goes? I'm like, it's stressful.
Oh, I don't even think there was a point to this, and it's just funny that they put it in the edit because he was like, I can see and I can hear a few key words. I was like, Chappies, you don't even know what they're saying. What? You just heard like you just heard his name, but like, is it good? Is it bad? Like, you don't. He's like, vote nullifier. And I'm like, okay. What? I was like, this, I don't even think it like factored into the game, but
where's Chappie?
Here we are.
I want to hear what he has to say, what he actually heard. I need to know.
He's like, I didn't hear anything. All right, we're going to go to our first individual immunity challenge here. We know this one. It's hard. You're standing on these poles with like the tiniest little grooves for your feet and hands. And poor Santini doesn't even make it a couple minutes.
Yeah, she fell quite quickly. But I was thinking when she did fall, I was like, you know what, though? It's still good for her at this point to not look like she's going to be a big athletic threat because nobody's eyes are going to be on her. I know she's dangerous because she's a double agent and she's flip-flopper, whatever. But she's useful to be there because she's not going to win any of these super physical immunities. So I think it was good for her to fall. If she wasn't going to win it, she might as well like look as enable as possible.
Agreed, because if you are worried that she's a double agent or you can't trust her, you'll go, well, I can get her out anytime. She's not going to win immunity. So you sort of push her back. But then we're going to start to see people fall. Anella, Marisha, Amy, Sean, Rainier, Warda, Nicole. That's our first 8 people. 6 of them are all of OG Zamba. They're all out in this first crop of people.
Is it because of the underdog or me? Like I'm more Team Vuna. Like I just that's who I'm rooting for.
I'm really torn. I like people on both sides.
I do.
So this was actually really tough.
I was realizing that I must be leading in the direction of Vuna at this when I was like, oh my God, it's the 3 Vunas are left. Yes. I think it's so they wanted to see their plan be executed. They seem to be the more strategic out of the 2 sides. Funny enough, they're supposed to be like the more Zen and yoga side. And the other ones are supposed to be just like the muscle. And so maybe that's like I gravitate towards the Zen yoga people, maybe. And I'm appreciating their game because I'd probably be in on that side of things. So I'm realizing that I'm more OG Vuna than Zama in this episode.
Well, at the 2-hour mark, we are down to Chappies, Kieran, and Nesu and Tyson, all somewhat working together. So that's interesting. And then Chappies drops, and we've got a kind of a deal happening here. We've got Kieran and Tyson who are very much working together, and a Nesu who is on their side, right? So Kieran sees that Tyson is going to fall, and he's trying to get a Nesu who's saying, I'm here all day, folks. I envisioned myself winning this. And she does look solid. Honestly, I thought she looks more solid than Kieran. Kieran was like holding on like this. I was like, what is happening? But she did agree. You know, Kieran says, send Tyson to Immunity Idol. There's a plan. And she says, okay. She says to Tyson, I'll send you. Tyson drops, but Kieran doesn't drop. He stays up there.
I think that it was just to be timing wise, to maybe like fall off. And then Anesu kind of stumbles and falls. And like, I really wanted her to win this one. And because then I was like, because when Kieran was saying like, I have a plan, I'm like, well, Anesu also had a plan. And so like, hopefully that this doesn't, I was like, please don't be, you know, showing that she needed to win this one and that his plan wasn't going to help her or whatever. Like, I was just nervous that they showed this. Oh my, is this going to be bad for my girl? But
right.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, I would have loved to have seen Anesu win it just because I love a yogi winning this comp. But I think it does make more sense for Kieran to do it, send Tyson, the whole plan works out. And it looks like Kieran and Tyson orchestrated this. If Anesu, she wouldn't have been able to orchestrate this because then she shows her cards, right? And at the end of this whole thing, she's not showing her cards. She voted a certain way to protect her double agent side. So I think it probably worked out better for her.
I mean, I want to see what the aftermath is. Where's the untucked? I want to see untucked versions of Survivor, so I can see the fallouts after competitions and after tribal councils. I want to see some live footage.
So they were on this poll for 3.5 hours. Kieran won at 3.5 hours. That is a record. We looked it up when I watched with on Twitch, and it was like 2 something. It was like Ozzy or Parvati or whoever it was. So this is, I believe, is a record from what we could find. I mean, that's a long time.
It's a very long time.
Woo. So
not fun.
Kieran, immunity winner. First individual immunity winner is going to enact the first part of their plan by sending Tyson to Immunity Island. Off he goes.
But Tyson's not supposed to play. He's like he just hopes that Tyson will just come back right away, come back tonight. So he doesn't even know if Tyson is going to like completely follow through with the plan, which is also
he knows though.
No, but like there's still like there's a temptation of like
Right.
getting another idol or another power, or who knows what really happens over there. So,
True.
you know,
I don't
it's
think
like-
Kieran knows. He hasn't been over there. So he could be, yeah. He's like, I don't know. He gets there and there's like, oh, I got to stay. So yeah, good point. Good point. Well, okay. So here we go. Back to camp. Marisha. Now we start to foreshadow because Marisha gets a confessional and she's like, bye, chappies. Oh, it's a shame, but bye.
And I was like,
Oh,
never even say that.
Don't say
because they use it when you are being blindsided. Like, you can't see, like, I feel so safe right now. Like, those are lines that just never, ever say on Survivor or Big Brother or any competition reality show, because they will clip it in the day that you're being blindsided. So just don't say it. They don't have that footage, and maybe you won't get blindsided. Right.
Don't jinx yourself. Don't make yourself get blindsided. Jeez. So OG Zamba here is basically saying easy vote. All eyes on chappies. They're all passing it along. Sure. Yeah. Great. Nesu and Santini are like, absolutely. Easy vote. Makes a lot of sense here. And they even talk about voting that way, setting this whole plan up, allowing them to vote chappies to save this middle ground that they're playing.
My question is, what I wished is that they showed maybe some more conversations with Nesu and Santini as to how they convinced him to vote off chappies. Like, Santini, they both started on the tribe with him in the beginning, and Santini had a little bit more of a connection with him. Like, they were sharing information or whatnot. I don't know what was relayed back to the original Zamba people, but like, how did they convince them that chappies is the right person to go? You would think that they would be standing up for their potential numbers. So I wish I'd seen a little bit of that conversation, because I was like, I wouldn't buy that either. I wouldn't buy that original Zamba would just turn on chappies right away. I wouldn't buy it.
I don't know. I think that they had sort of alluded to chappies being like a wild card. He's out there looking for an idol in front of everyone. He's telling stories about family videos. I think that they had a little bit of ammo to use to say chappies is all over the place. Can't trust him. Like, he, and at least we saw a little bit from Santini. You're right. We didn't see much from Anesu, where she was just like, oh yeah, so true, so true, and went along with it. But I think that was basically what they were saying and trying.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they got duped. I'm just giving them credit of being like really great players. That I'm surprised by some of these little traps. They didn't, just maybe consider them. Like, just consider the possibility that these people could be lying to them, and consider it further, that just to have an alternative plan, because when you don't consider all angles, then you're leaving yourself open. And so I'm just surprised they left themselves open.
They sure did. Someone is going to think about this, but we'll get to him in just a moment. We do here see that Tyson is at Immunity Island, and he's like, ha, let me take this necklace and run, folks. I ain't playing. Peace out. He's also talking a big game here in his confessional about how, like, this shows, this is all me. I get credit for this.
I guess he's going to get credit because it will be flashy. Him, he's going to be bequeath this necklace to Vorda, that they know that it's going to be potentially, if they're going to split a vote, it would be on Vorda. So they clocked that. So they did recognize that most likely they're going to. They didn't think that he would play his own idol on chappies. So that was like the other miscalculation, and so he's going to get a lot of credit for this move, because he did two flash things and it went in his favor.
I agree. I think absolutely. If he can make it to the end, you get credit. But things that are this flashy, you become the next target. Like, how you get out of this, that then shows me how good of a player. I mean, I think Tyson's a great player, but like, you are showing everyone you're a great player. So when he started talking up here, I started to get worried for him. Yeah.
Next episode,
maybe they're going to be coming after Tyson, is how I would assume.
Well, I mean, it depends. I think it really depends on what Anesu wants, because Anesu, maybe she didn't go to Immunity Island like she wanted to, but she had to play a huge role with gaining the trust of the other side, and she still has it. So I don't think she wants Tyson out yet. I think it still serves her to keep him in the game. So unless it's going to be, battle of some idols or stuff like that, they have the numbers now, and so I don't think that he's going anywhere for a little bit. Which I'm very fine for. I'm fine with. I don't know if I have any idea who I want out next, because it's like, I don't know. Maybe Nicole?
Right. Maybe.
That's probably the last person that I definitely, who?
Right.
Yeah, who else?
They took Marisha out, so maybe they don't focus on Nicole again. Like, they took one of the 3 girls, but they still have the 2 blondes, and they don't seem to worry about Amy, so it could be Nicole. But I feel like things will shake up. Yeah, they got the numbers advantage, but I feel like it's not going to stay just 2 sides here. I don't see it. There's a lot of people playing. But let's talk about Nicole, because Nicole is one of the 2 people who is like, what are all the layers here, and what should we also be worried about? Because what if Santini and Anesu and Warda are lying to us? What if they're not voting for Chappies? They're not technically with us. What if they're writing my name down? Could you play the idol for me, Renier? And he's like, I guess if I have to.
See, this actually, I think the fact that they made it a shared idol, like they told basically the whole alliance. So Sean, Amy, Marisha, Renier, Nicole, and I'm missing somebody, told everybody that they had this idol. And so I think that with this whole plan, it ended up being misplayed and lost because everybody knew about it. Because if it was kept, if like either Renier or Marisha kept it quiet, Marisha would still have gone home, yes, but they still would have had that idol. So it just shows how powerful keeping your mouth shut is, because other people's paranoia and then looking like your team player, and you don't want to look like you're hoarding an idol. And, if you're wrong, that looks terrible to your alliance. So just keep it quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I understand at the merge, you become really nervous. Like, you want to keep your numbers. So you think, we'll use this as a team. But yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen is going to get an idol played incorrectly, right? Which is exactly what happens. But here's what I was very impressed with, because Sean actually came to the table with exactly what the other side is going to do. He can see the big picture here. Why would Tyson, Tyson has returned from Immunity Island already. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he have stayed and played for an advantage? There must be something going on. They're cooking something up. Do you think it's possible that Tyson would give his idol to Chappies, who we've all said is our target? No one has said Tyson's name. So, Anella's like, no, he'll play it for himself. Why? No one has said Tyson's name.
I don't know. I'm just shocked by this left themselves completely open, and didn't think that it was possible that because they know who the target is, they know how to correctly play an idol, and then they have the numbers to vote whomever they choose off.
Right.
It's shocking.
I mean, obviously this is great for the edit, because Sean is literally spelling out what's about to happen, and he's just getting shot down, because all Anella can see is, if I have idol, I play idol for myself. Like, that's as far as he can see. And Sean's like, no, I'm seeing this whole picture here. And but Anella shoots him down, and Sean is just like, okay, cool, let's go. Whatever you say.
I mean, I love it, because like when people are strategizing, then people get shot down, and I like it. Look good, I told you so. They feel pretty good. I'm sure Sean's gonna be like, I mean, I gave you that as an option. And so I like that. I want to just see the aftermath of this, because like they are completely shocked by the turn of events. And it seemed pretty obvious, especially when someone says exactly what's planning on happening.
Right. Like, I don't need you to spin off into paranoia. Like, I know that that's useless energy and can lead you in the wrong path. But if someone brings up a point, just like take a moment. Be like,
a little critical thinking here.
What would we like? How do we counteract that? Let's think it through. Don't just go, not gonna happen. No big deal.
Because one thing in Survivor is like you always want to know who the vote is going to be so you can correctly play an idol. So the best thing for you to do is misdirect somebody on who you think the vote is going to be so that they can misplay an idol. And they completely didn't. They're like, no. Marisha said the famous words, stick to the plan. And I believe that he went out when he said that time too, right? I forget his name right now.
Oh.
Stick to the plan in US Survivor.
Oh.
Stick to the plan. Rudy? Is it Rudy? It's an older gentleman. I can't remember who it was. Anyway, with the tuk-tuks. What's his name?
I'm worse than you at names. You got
it. Okay. Well, anyways, this older gentleman, stick to the plan.
Was it Keith?
Yes, Keith Nell, yes. So he was like, stick to the plan. I think he ended up going out after he said stick to the plan, but I just thought it was interesting that, like, don't stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. It's bad for you, Marisha.
Yes.
Bad.
Those fixed signs. They just have to stick to a plan, and it doesn't always work out for you guys. Oh, you got to be able to pivot. Oh, okay. Let's go to this tribal because this is one for the bucks, you guys. One for the bucks. We got one group of people who have done a misdirect and one group of people who have not done a misdirect. And we've got a ton of advantages that have to be played to make this work out. And that is what is going to happen. We get a typical tribal of like, the target's out there. Everyone knows who the target is and who's going home. So sorry. We got a numbers advantage with this vote thing. We're good, Chappies. And Chappies is like, I'm going to go out burning.
But like, wouldn't you I would be so sus of like Chappie's not being super, like there was another time when they thought it was going to be Chappie's for sure that was going out. And he was just so like calm and just like sitting there and like, just kind of happy. And it's like, I'm like, there's no way that if he knew that he was going out, he'd be this calm. Like, look, he's looking like through the shelter and ripping things up just to find an idol. Like you think that he's just going to be like quite calm in the tribal and just allow himself to be voted out? You know something's cooking, and it's not rice.
But again, to Chappie's credit, he keeps you on his toes on a regular basis. So yes, logically, you're like, Chappie's, it doesn't seem extra chaotic, but his chaos is confusing. So I don't know. I'd like to, I don't want Chappie's to necessarily be voted out, but like, I would like to see how he acts if it's not a blindside. Yeah. So I can see what an actual nervous Chappie's looks like. I don't know.
I would love to see it as well because to me he wasn't acting how I would expect him to act as a nervous person that's going to be going home. Like, yes, he'd be doing anything, like seeing what sticks, like trying for sure. But like, I feel like there'd be the desperation. I feel like he'd be having one-on-one chats. I feel like he'd be like talking to everybody. I just feel like there'd just be way more chaos when he felt super in danger. And so I just think it would
bet you're right.
Tipping people off, but they didn't pick it up.
But he did do some performative stuff. And so does Sean. I think Sean, we remember Sean from the very first tribal. Like, he's great at performative tribals, but he's also mad at Chappies. So, he's kind of going in on this. We made an agreement. He told someone about the dessert. And, he's pointing out that was, I think, rude, but also maybe possibly manipulative. He's bringing all this up. And again, I think all of this is just performance to misdirect and not hint at anything that has to do with Marisha. There was even a moment where Chappie says, after me, it's one of the next threats, like person, doesn't say Marisha's name. I think this is another great misdirect because still no one's focused on her. Let's get to the good stuff. We've got Tyson. He has to give his necklace to someone. Who are you going to give this necklace to? He says, Warda. Great. First step, go to Warda.
Click, like the keys in. It's like we're doing a cipher here. It's like, like we're on like Angels and Demons. We're solving this cipher. Perfect. Go ahead.
So then, though, Anella has to say, Nico, I got this like vote thingy. And he's like, cool. Yeah, you get to steal someone's vote. Whose vote do you want to take? He'd like to take Chappie's. Still part of this whole performance-y thingy we got going on here. Yep, two things are happening. Okay, now we can go vote. But you can't vote for Warda now. So now we have just a ton of votes going to Chappie's is what we're going to see here. But we're going to come back. And now Nico's going to say, anybody got an idol? And Tyson's like, you know what? I do have an idol. And I'm going to hand it over to Chappie's. Chappie's is going to play this idol for himself. And now a little bit of panic is going to set in on the other side. Nicole, Rainier, I need the idol. I got to play the idol. You can see it in Rainier's face of like, I do not want to play this idol. I do not. But like multiple people are panicked and looking at him. So he slowly pulls it out of his crotch. And then there's even this dramatic moment where Nico's like, who's this being played for? And they're all look like Rainier's like, oh, who, me? I have to say? Nicole's like, yes, me. So officially it is played for Nicole. And now we get the votes. First we have a no vote. Then we have 6 votes for Chappie's. Doesn't count. Then we see Marisha.
Oh, I got goosebumps with you, the retelling of it. Thank you very much.
Woo!
Great story. So it was the urban legend.
Right? It was so well executed. Not rooting for any side whatsoever. You just have to root for the plan that they just laid out perfectly. It was complicated. There were so many layers to it.
My one question would have been a tie, because I thought that Anesu and Santini wanted to both still remain under the guise of the numbers, and so Santini though did vote out Marisha, and Anesu voted out Chappie's. Is that just because it would have been a 5-5 split? Do you think that?
Yeah, I don't know. I questioned that as well. Like when I was looking at the votes, I assumed. But Anesu was the only one who kept that Chappie's vote. Santini and Warda, I didn't feel like they needed to vote for Marisha, but they did. There must have been some concern.
It was maybe just in case Tyson didn't play the idol for...
I think it was probably just in case one of those Chappies. Oh, so they took Warda off the table, right? So the Chappies votes, that it was going to be Chappie's Warda, right? So whatever plan B was going to be, if you were voting for Warda, who do you vote for now? Maybe they needed to counteract and have enough Marisha votes.
Right. They needed to make sure they had 6 votes on somebody in case an idol wasn't played. They needed to have the numbers. Because they weren't.
Are you the 4 of Marisha?
Oh, 4 for Marisha. Yeah. You know what? I'm completely wrong here.
I think because there were going to be 3 for Warda, they must have said we need at least 4 for Marisha, just in case these 3 Warda votes go to somebody else.
Right.
Tyson, whoever. We need to make sure it's 4. That's my best guess. Hopefully we'll get more intel on that. But yeah, Anesu is the only one who really...
Maybe she's just staying as the double agent now. Maybe it's just her. And be like, we lost Santini. It's just me now.
Right. Wow. Because I think we've covered in this whole episode of like how complicated this is and how you could mess it up. People could get a whiff that it's not Nicole. People could get a whiff that it's Marisha. People could get a whiff that they're going to obviously give the idol to Chappie's. Like,
it's like, I really thought that the ball was going to be dropped, that Tyson would have gotten spooked and he would have used it on himself, and it would just have messed everything up. That's what I was worried about, because a lot of people get spooked in those type of situations. Like, oh my God, like, is this too easy? Is this plan actually working? Like, I can't use it for someone else. You always have to use an idol for yourself, because like it's so risky. And that's what I was worried, that he might use it on himself as just some insurance. And then I guess Chappies would have been gone. It would be 6.
Chappies would have been gone. Yeah. Well, next week, Sean is mad. He is very, very mad. That vote did not go his way. Oh, before we get to next week, we just have to say Marisha gave Nicole her jacket, and I just have to go, Natalie?
Can I get my jacket?
Natalie? No?
Natalie?
But no, that was very nice of Marisha to just hand over her jacket. It was,
and Nicole cried after. I mean, I think that she probably felt guilty for the fact that she got them to use the idol on her, and it was a complete misplay. Not that they would have played it on Marisha. I think that Marisha was probably the last person that they were going to play it on, but she probably survivor's guilt, literally.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would feel awful that I burned an idol just horribly incorrectly, and someone I'm
lost
close
my
to,
ally.
right, went out. Like, I would probably sob just like she did in that. Like, she looked like she was crying heavily because, oh, whoops, what a big faux pas. Yikes.
I can't see her winning at this point. Like, I think anyways, we'll see what happens. I'm very curious as to how original Zamba is going to, react to this, because they really put themselves in a deficit here. And the only super strategic people are Amy and Rainier. And so I want to see how they pivot with this, like, a lot of new information. And what are they going to be filtering out? What's true, what's not true? Like, is he going to try to save his relationship with Chappies? Like, I want to see how people decide to mend their fences and move forward.
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting, is because we do see some really solid game players here, and we've messed things up here, right? One side got blindsided. They don't have numbers, and people are mad. So I just can't imagine it just stays like this. There's going to be a lot of mixy-matchy. People are mad. Now they want to, like, get revenge, or how, do you fake, like, Rainier is so smart, but he seems like he's tunnel vision on Chappies, and like, that's dangerous, right?
Very dangerous. Is there any more idols or advantages out there right now?
Anesu has not used her advantage, and I didn't hear her tell anyone either.
Good, thank you.
In this whole hodgepodge.
And hers is, she can leave tribal. Great. That's actually great. Because that could help cause confusion, maybe, if they're ever in danger. I mean, like, oh, the vote's going to be her. And then she's like, well, do you know what? I'm going to just take a leave of absence here, a little PLOA, and I'm going to go back to camp. And then they have to scramble last minute. And so that could help her numbers in the later game.
But I think at least two idols will go back out to camp, right?
Like, just out to camp. I never like, especially in US Survivor, when they just go around and they just start finding idols.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really down with that. It was very surprising how Marisha found that one. It was, it was up in a tree. It was a little bit obscure, but also at the same time it wasn't. So it just, like, I like when they find it with the clues. I like when they go on a little wild goose chase and they're like searching. There was one season of the US Survivor where they were like, they had to swim back and forth and back and forth, and like the tide was going up and you can only see,
yes.
I want that.
That was with the girls. What's the one with the girls that Parvati wins? Yes. I'm so bad.
Micronesia.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so bad with people's names and tribe names or season names. But yeah, I especially when you have something as big as Immunity Island, you don't need them at camp, right? Just maybe one at camp. But I would prefer it just be whoever goes to Immunity Island gets these advantages or whatever. Which is interesting now that
hide something, hide just a clue. And like just like how Chappies went on that little, treasure hunt, like that even though it was so like ridiculous how he was doing it, it was fun to watch still, like to see like him going around and like following clues. Like I like taking on the adventure. I don't like seeing people just like rummage through leaves and dirt. I want people to be like, oh, maybe that looks like legs. Like let me go to that. You know what I mean? I want to see a little bit more of them figuring it out. So
not just blue isn't a color that occurs naturally in nature. I think I butchered that, but you get it. Okay, yes, hide it at tribal. That was super fun. I love it. What is this next week? We're gonna have teams. Is that just for the challenge?
I'm thinking it's just for the reward.
Yes.
So
that
it's
makes
like
sense.
So how many people are left? 12 now? Or is it 11?
No, it was 12, so it should be 11. Yeah.
So it's not even an even number, though. That's weird.
Mm-mm.
Or like a dividable number.
Right.
It's gonna be like
3.
443, I guess.
Right.
Which is strange.
Maybe someone has to sit out. We have seen that before.
That's maybe. Oh my God, yeah, that sucks. But yeah, maybe.
It's really sucks when they don't even get a chance to go to reward. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll hide clues at reward.
I'm hoping this is just for reward because the way the preview was like, Sean, can you work with your team? And you're like, oh my gosh, don't make him like work the whole episode with people that he's so mad with. Like
that could be really interesting though. Like I know that they've had like one world where people live in the same island and stuff, but it could be interesting if like, for 3 days or so, you are working with one other person and like doing some little challenges together. That could be an interesting little new twist of Survivor. That could be fun, but I don't think that's what this is.
I also would enjoy like if Sean is with some people he's mad at and they do win reward and they can go off and maybe talk some stuff out. Like that would be helpful too. I don't want anyone to just play angry. You gotta.
Wait, so why is Sean so mad? Because of what?
Well, he's mad at Chappies for revealing dessert, and then he's mad that they got blindsided.
Okay, I'd be pissed.
He even said when Marisha gave her jacket, he goes, "And this is the type of person you vote out."
Like that I can't. But
he's mad.
It's Survivor. Like everybody wants to win. They're not just going to be like, you know what? We're going to make a group decision that Chappies is. He said something that he lied and he told some information that we agreed upon not saying, and so he deserves to be voted out of this game. He's lost my respect. He shouldn't be playing anymore. And it's like, not Survivor. You can do whatever you want in Survivor. If you get to the end and they vote for you and you win, you deserved it. So I don't agree with that personally.
Well, but
nice person has to stay there.
No, I agree. Nice or not nice, doesn't matter. I mean, Marisha was lovely to give her jacket, but she is probably the strongest person out there. You are playing great to get her out. Like she should go. She's such a threat. But I am of the mindset that Chappies always has an ulterior motive. Like I don't think he was just being that drunk and talking about that video. So I agree with Sean of like Chappies is a wild card and he needs to go because he'll do things like that and manipulate you. Like that I see.
Mm-hmm. I can see his reasoning why to get Chappies out. Also like any you don't know what he's going to do. Like I wouldn't be able to play a game with a person like Chappies because of the unpredictability. So I agree for that for sure. But not wanting to vote out Marisha because she's kind and generous.
No, hard pass.
That's probably why she's going to be voted out on my end.
She could beat everyone there as soon as it was a competition of like actual strength. No, she'd beat all of you. Like she had to go, unfortunately.
And super likable and has loyal allies. Like no, she's definitely she's perfect to be going. Nicole no. Marisha, yeah.
Marisha, yeah. Girl, amazing. So she should feel, like she was voted out because she is a fierce competitor. Like that's
and nobody was going to see it coming at that particular time. So it was perfect timing.
Great blindside. Okay, we have oohed and awed over this episode so much. Love it. Love these game players. Really really enjoying the season.
We're
And
getting
I'm
so
hoping
lucky. Like Big Brother is so like game players, and this is so much game players. I'm wondering. Okay, let's put it out there. Just as because we both love astrology, right? So we have shifted into like, you know, Saturn, or not Saturn, sorry, Aquarius is now, it's going to be in air signs for the next 200 years. And we just moved out of Earth for 200 years. And so I'm wondering if this is a glimpse of what reality TV is going to be like, is because there's so much of that Aquarius heady energy that's flowing through everything right now. I'm wondering. I don't know. That's just me. But then I'm like, oh, shoot. They did film it last year, though. Did they?
Oh, did they? I don't know when they. Yeah, it was at the end of the year, maybe, or the beginning of this year. I'm not sure. I don't know what the transits were during this filming. I don't know, but there was a good alignment for gameplay. And we've got some good alignment right now for Big Brother. Yes, Neil, she is going to jury. She's our first member of jury.
You did mention that. I was listening because I'm like, I always think it's so unkind when there's a merge and then the first person that gets voted out is not part of the jury. I think that's just such a just like a jab.
Yeah.
So she's the first jury member.
We did have a full moon last night, and
in Aquarius.
That I thought was very evident in the Big Brother house. That was a day.
What's happening?
But it's all games, so yeah.
It's really great, and like I'm gonna go catch up probably right now. Yes, I'm gonna do some watching, do some feeds watching.
I think they're playing Veto.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe they're not. I've been talking to you, so I don't know what has happened. But you guys, I'm so excited about the rest of this season. I think we're about halfway through. Not really sure. But it's super, super fun. And you guys who join us live, we really appreciate it. We're having so much fun with you guys. And if you're joining us later, please leave a comment. Let us know how you're feeling about the season.
This episode.
Hello. Did you even follow what the heck was happening? Tell us how you feel about all of that. And what side you're on. Are you OG any tribe, or who are you rooting for?
Right now, it's Vuna for me. They were the underdogs, and they concocted a plan that worked.
I don't think they're the underdogs anymore, though. So, do you have to flip? We'll see. We'll see next week. We got to see next week. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.